Imagine this. You're sitting in your living room enjoying a quiet evening. Your kids are asleep and the world outside seems calm. Then you hear it, the distant sound of shouting, sirens blaring, and glass shattering. You rush to your window and see smoke rising from the town square. What started as a peaceful protest just hours ago has now turned into chaos. The streets, once familiar and safe, are now filled with angry mobs, looters, and destruction. Your quiet community has turned violent in the blink of an eye. What do you do when the world around you descends into madness? Welcome to Reliable Prepper. I'm here to help you prepare for the unexpected, the dangerous, and the unthinkable. Today, we're going to tackle a scenario that more and more people are finding themselves facing: localized unrest. From small towns to suburban neighborhoods, no place is immune to the kind of violence we used to think could only happen in big cities. We'll cover essential survival tactics that will help you protect yourself and your loved ones when your peaceful community suddenly turns violent. But before we dive in, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Reliable Prepper is here to make sure you're always one step ahead when the world around you falls apart. Don't wait for the violence to come knocking at your door. Take control of your safety and preparedness today. We've all seen the footage on the news. Cities like Minneapolis, Ferguson, and Portland erupting in violence after what began as peaceful protests. But what we often forget is that these things can happen anywhere. Just because you live in a quiet neighborhood doesn't mean you're immune. In fact, smaller communities can be more vulnerable because they're often less prepared. Let's talk about the causes of localized unrest. The first and most obvious is economic tension. When people are struggling to make ends meet, the smallest spark can ignite a wildfire of anger and frustration. Think back to the 2011 London riots. What began as a protest over a police shooting quickly escalated into looting and arson, fueled by high unemployment and austerity measures that left people feeling desperate and hopeless. The same economic pressures are building here at home. Inflation is hitting record highs, and many are struggling to afford even basic necessities. How long before these pressures boil over into violence in your own community? Next is political disagreement. We live in a deeply divided world where local issues can spark outrage just as quickly as national ones. Take Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. What started as a small protest over the removal of a Confederate statue escalated into one of the most violent confrontations in recent memory. Political polarization is a growing threat, and when it seeps into local politics, your town can become the next flashpoint for violence. Then there are social movements. Often driven by the fight for justice and equality, these movements can take a dark turn when peaceful protests are infiltrated by bad actors looking to cause chaos. Ferguson, Missouri in 2014 is a perfect example. A protest against police brutality escalated into widespread violence that left businesses destroyed and the community reeling for years. Finally, we have crime spikes. When crime rates rise, tension follows. Gang activity, robberies, and violent crimes can create a powder keg in even the most peaceful communities. And when law enforcement is overwhelmed, as we saw during the 2020 riots, crime spreads rapidly, pulling in neighborhoods that were once considered safe. So how do you know if your community is at risk? The first step in preparing for localized unrest is understanding the warning signs. Most of the time, violence doesn't just erupt out of nowhere. There are always precursors if you know where to look. One of the most important things you can do is stay informed. You need to be aware of what's happening in your community. Local news, police scanners, and community bulletins are your lifelines in staying ahead of any brewing unrest. Apps like Citizen, Ring Neighborhood, and Nextdoor can give you real-time updates on incidents happening near you. But be careful. Social media can be a double-edged sword. False information spreads like wildfire during times of chaos. So always verify what you're seeing before you take action. A protest that is peaceful at noon can turn into a riot by nightfall. You should also be on the lookout for early warning signs of unrest. These signs might be subtle at first. Maybe you notice more police patrolling your neighborhood, or perhaps there's talk of a protest happening at the town square. Large, unplanned gatherings, escalating tensions on local message boards, or even sudden spikes in political rhetoric can all be signs that something is about to happen. If you're seeing any of these things, it's time to start thinking about how you'll react if things go south. But let's get even more specific. You need to assess your neighborhood's risk level. Are you near a government building, courthouse, or police station? Are there businesses in your area that might become targets for looting? Are there rising crime rates in neighborhoods close to yours? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, you need to be even more vigilant. The closer you are to potential flashpoints, the more at risk you are when unrest breaks out. Now that you've assessed the risks, it's time to prepare your home and family. When chaos erupts, your home needs to be your fortress, your safe haven. And trust me, fortifying your home isn't about building a bunker or living in fear. It's about being smart, being ready. Start with the basics. Fortify your home's defenses. Ensure that all doors and windows are secure. Add deadbolts and reinforce your door frames with longer screws to make forced entry more difficult. Consider adding security bars to ground floor windows and install motion sensor lights around your property. One of the simplest yet most effective deterrents is light. Criminals prefer to operate under the cover of darkness, so make sure your property is well lit. Security cameras are another great addition, not only to monitor your home, but to alert you to any suspicious activity. But sometimes your home's outer defenses aren't enough. That's why it's critical to designate a safe room within your home. This is a place where your family can retreat if violence spills into your neighborhood. Stock your safe room with essential supplies: water, food, first aid kits, communication devices, and a way to defend yourself. If rioters or looters are breaking down doors nearby, you need to have a safe place to hunker down until the danger passes. You also need to plan for communication breakdowns. When unrest breaks out, cell networks can quickly become overloaded or even disabled. You can't rely on your phone to be your only means of communication. Consider investing in walkie-talkies, ham radios, or signal apps that work on Wi-Fi or direct peer-to-peer connections, even when cell towers are down. Have a clear plan in place with your family so that everyone knows how to contact each other if they get separated. But what if staying put isn't an option? What if the unrest is too close, too dangerous? You need an evacuation plan. Knowing when to leave is just as important as knowing how to defend your home. This decision could be the difference between life and death. Map out multiple routes out of your neighborhood now. Think about what roads might be blocked or too dangerous to travel during a riot. Make sure your go bags are ready, each one packed with essential items like food, water, medications, documents, and first aid supplies. If you need to evacuate quickly, you won't have time to gather your belongings. Your bags should be ready to grab at a moment's notice. If you haven't already started prepping your home and family for unrest, now is the time. Take action today. Fortify your home, establish communication plans, and prepare for the possibility that you might need to leave quickly. Don't wait until the violence is on your doorstep to start thinking about how to protect your loved ones. Your safety starts with preparation. If violence does break out in your community, your primary goal is to stay safe. Staying calm and making smart decisions in the heat of the moment can save your life. First, practice situational awareness at all times. Know your surroundings and always be aware of what's happening around you. Avoid crowds and protest areas whenever possible, even if the situation appears peaceful at first. Protests can escalate from calm to violent in a matter of minutes. Blend in with the crowd if you have no choice but to pass through a dangerous area. Don't draw attention to yourself. Wear neutral clothing, avoid flashy jewelry, and keep your head down. The last thing you want is to stand out during a chaotic situation. If you find yourself near a protest or riot, navigate carefully. Stay on the edges of the crowd, where it's easier to exit quickly if things go wrong. Keep your movements calm and controlled. Panic breeds panic. Avoid engaging with anyone and don't get involved in arguments or confrontations. Violence often escalates because someone gets drawn into a conflict that they could have avoided by staying cool-headed. If you feel unsafe, leave the area immediately. The longer you stay in a tense situation, the greater the risk of getting caught up in the violence. Another critical aspect of surviving unrest is vehicle safety. Your car can be a lifeline, but it can also become a trap if you're not prepared. Always keep your gas tank at least half full, and regularly check your tires, brakes, and battery. In times of unrest, gas stations may be closed or overrun, and traffic may be gridlocked. You don't want to find yourself stuck in a vehicle with an empty tank when you need to make a quick escape. Make sure you have an emergency kit in your vehicle at all times. This should include essentials like water, snacks, blankets, a first aid kit, a flashlight, and a multi-tool. You should also have basic repair tools like a tire jack, a spare tire, and jumper cables. Additionally, have a map of your area. GPS systems can fail, or you may find yourself needing to navigate around blocked roads. A physical map will ensure you have a backup plan if technology fails. Park strategically whenever possible. Choose locations where you can exit quickly, preferably backing into parking spots for a swift getaway. Avoid parking near areas that could become flashpoints for violence, such as protest sites or government buildings. If you find yourself caught in traffic during unrest, avoid panicking. Lock your doors, keep your windows rolled up, and assess the situation carefully. If your vehicle is surrounded by an angry mob, you may need to remain calm and avoid drawing attention to yourself. However, if you believe your life is in immediate danger, you need to be prepared to act quickly and decisively, even if that means abandoning your vehicle. Once the violence subsides, the danger may not be over. The aftermath of unrest can be just as chaotic as the event itself, and knowing how to navigate the post-unrest environment is crucial for your long-term safety. The first step is assessing your neighborhood's safety before returning to your home. Even after the rioting or looting has ended, there could still be pockets of violence, especially if law enforcement hasn't fully regained control. Before heading home, check local reports and communicate with neighbors who might have remained behind. Ensure that it's genuinely safe to return. When you do get back, inspect your home thoroughly for signs of damage or break-ins. Look for broken windows, forced doors, or any signs that looters might have entered. If your home has been damaged, assess whether it's still secure enough to live in. If there's significant structural damage or it seems unsafe, it might be better to seek shelter elsewhere until repairs can be made. In the days and weeks following unrest, the priority shifts to rebuilding and strengthening community resilience. Your community's ability to recover from violence depends on how well you come together with your neighbors to restore order and rebuild trust. Participate in local recovery efforts, whether that's helping clean up damaged areas or attending neighborhood meetings to discuss what happened and how to prevent it from recurring. Community is everything when it comes to long-term survival. Building relationships with your neighbors will be crucial in the aftermath of unrest. These relationships can provide mutual aid and security during the recovery process. You might also consider forming or joining a neighborhood watch program to help deter future incidents and keep an eye on vulnerable areas. Finally, review your preparedness plan in the wake of the unrest. What worked well? What didn't? Did you have enough supplies? Were your communication strategies effective? Did your family know what to do when the violence broke out? Use this experience as an opportunity to refine and improve your plan. Maybe you'll need to stock more food or water, or perhaps your safe room needs better fortifications. Preparing for the next event starts with learning from the past one. As we've discussed, localized unrest can erupt suddenly and without warning, transforming peaceful communities into battlegrounds in the blink of an eye. But with the right mindset and preparations, you can protect your family and come through these situations safely. From understanding the causes of unrest to fortifying your home, staying alert during violent outbreaks and rebuilding your community afterward, these are the survival tactics that could save your life when things take a turn for the worse. But remember, preparedness doesn't just happen overnight. It's a process, a lifestyle. If you haven't already, take action today to assess your community's risk and begin implementing the tactics we've discussed. Don't wait until the unrest is at your door to start thinking about your safety. Build your defenses, strengthen your plans, and stay informed. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to Reliable Prepper, share this video with those you care about, and ensure that your loved ones are also prepared. The more people who are ready, the better off we'll all be when the time comes. Together, we can create a network of strength and resilience that will carry us through even the darkest times. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay safe out there.